Welcome to another episode of The Last Word on Rugby. We are back with another test of the Springboks, this time here in Pretoria. They are taking on Italy. It wasn't the best of games in the first test a week ago at Loftus-Versfeld, but we will be hoping for a better display from the Boks when they take on the Azzurri. It's a much changed team, an exciting team, and they can definitely provide the sparks when they take to the field in the Nelson Mandela Bay Stadium. With me today, Mike Greenaway, John Goliath. The guys will be chatting all things the box, the changes made by Rassie Erasmus, and what they are expecting to happen on Saturday. Stay with us for another exciting episode. If you haven't yet, click that like button, subscribe to the channel as we bring you the latest news on the box. Mike, as our guy on the ground at Loftus, I mean, even Rassie said he was not happy with the performance. We could all see that there were glimpses of six tries, not to be scoffed at, glimpses of what the box can do. But that we would have, after that Barbarians game, would have expected more from them, especially in terms of their physicality, and just how they played that game.
Yeah, yeah. Look, it's clear to me that despite what the Springboks said during the build-up to that Test match, they did underestimate Italy, and I think a lot of people got sort of lulled down this blind alley regarding Italy because they'd left behind seven or eight of their top players. And so immediately everyone is thinking, oh, well, they're useless. I mean, Italy haven't got depth. They're going to get wiped out. But closest students of the Italian game, and I spoke to one of the Italian reporters, said, look, the guys coming through are actually potential superstars. I mean, Italy's junior rugby is in very good health. And that European under-20 competition that they have parallel to the Six Nations, they've been up there at the top, second, third. So yes, they left stars behind, but they brought in guys who are going to be stars of Italy rugby, and we saw that. I mean, they took the game to the Springboks. So that first half, I mean, the Springboks played well. That was controlled. Springbok phase play rugby par excellence. 28-3, it looked like the floodgates are going to open. And then the foot went off the pedal. It's as simple as that. And Italy got wind in their sails, and that's one team you don't allow them to get wind in their sails, then their emotions get up, and then they're hard to stop. So look, I mean, Rassie in his press conference afterwards, he was choosing his words carefully, but you could see he was seething. He was not a happy camper at all, and I mean, he was quite honest in that press conference, saying it was not a good performance. But can you imagine what he was like in that team room on Monday, and in that change room afterwards? The Loftus change room needs another coat of paint in there, I think.
Yeah,
But yeah, look,
entire treatment.
and John, when have you ever seen a bomb squad fail to detonate like that?
Yes, like
Yeah, it was kind of interesting. We talk about that second half, but for me, I think the way they targeted the Boxers' big runners with these low chop tackles, I mean, some of them could have been actually illegal.
Yeah.
There were some leg breakers there, especially on Eben. And I think that was sort of the ploy to go low, stop that momentum right there, and then flood the breakdown. I think
Yeah.
that's where they were actually at their best, where they just flooded the breakdown. It reminded me a bit of Argentina when they played the Heineke Meyers box in 2015, where they just went all out at the breakdown, trying to
Yeah.
spoil. And you could see that Mone van der Berg, he didn't get a lot of quality ball besides
Mm,
I mean, that first 20 minutes perhaps
mm,
where the Box absolutely dominated. But
yeah.
after that, he was
Yeah.
struggling sort of to get over the ball, to get hold of the ball, sort of to get clean ball to the likes of the
Mm,
back. But that brings me again back to the point that when Siya Kolisi plays, and people don't often see this, but when he plays, he is so key in protecting that ball at the breakdown,
Mm,
because he's always in there first over the ball, and that gets you a lot of momentum. But Italy, they they sort of, because they shocked the box, because they pitched up physically and flooded the breakdown. It
mm,
was very difficult. And then you spoke about the bomb squad, and I think that comes back to where I think some of the guys looked really rusty also. Some of the guys in the bomb squad. I mean, Ergius Neyman last played in the URC final. Um, and sort of a Bongi also last played for the Sharks in the, I think it was the semi-final against the Bulls.
mm.
So they looked a bit rusty, but as you said, I think that the hair dryer treatment, they knocked some of the rust off ahead of the second test.
Yeah, yeah, John. It's me and you with a pie on our face because we called what 50, 60 points. You called it
I was the one
go
who
to
said
80.
70.
So the same as the box, we underestimated Italy, and they brought that game to the box, especially in that second half. And yes, I've seen those chop tackles, and it's become a trend of I don't want to say the smaller teams, but just look how they tackle Eben or Peter Steph when he carries. They don't go for a bare hug or trying to shake them on the hips with a shoulder because they know they're going to get bumped off. They are
Yeah.
going for the
Yeah,
top of the knee or
yeah.
just below the knee, just to chop them down. And they can't gain momentum like that. And I mean, there was a couple of tackles that came flying in, and you just see Eben's limbs flying up here in the air. And you're right, it borderlines a dangerous tackle.
And if I can just add in there, of course, the man who pioneered the chop tackle was Eddie Jones when he was coaching Japan. And you'll remember that's exactly how they beat the Springboks in Brighton
Yeah.
in the 2015 World Cup. Those chop tackles were, I mean, I remember Peter Steph du Toit was making his debut, not his debut, but playing on the flank for the first time for the Springboks. And that was Heineke's like big ploy, moving him from lock to blindside flank to become a ball carrier. And exactly what happened to Urban and company at Loftus happened to
Yeah,
poor old Peter Steph. He didn't know what had hit him. I mean, these guys were literally tackling him at his bootlaces, and the Boks were outcoached. And I think that's one of the things that Rassi. I mean, he actually said, "Look, um, we as coaches actually have to look at ourselves here because we thought we were A1 ready to go. We were in the starting blocks. Meanwhile, in the Italy camp, they were plotting something that the Boks never saw coming. And I don't think Rassi is going to be mad at me for saying the Springboks were outplayed and outcoached ultimately. But just again, I mean, the Springboks won by 18 points, and the reaction in South Africa is almost as if they lost the
that
game,
lost. Yeah,
but they still
yeah.
won by 18
Exactly.
points, and that it's just a reflection of the standards that the Springboks command of themselves as double world champions.
Looking at this weekend's game, guys, it's this squad was changed, and although still a strong squad, it's one that you haven't really seen play together. Like you have two centers who played last together. If I'm not mistaken, it was Twickenham. What was it? The All Blacks. Um, yeah, it could have been ahead of the World Cup. And they played well together. So it's good to see that Andre and Kanan's playing next to each other again. Edwolf van der Merwe also getting a home debut after having to wait over a year to get his second cap. So a lot of changes. John, I don't know what you make of these changes, but is this the team to bring you that 70 score here in Rebecca?
Um, It depends. I don't think it's going to be a 70. I think we saw last week that these Italians are really competitive. About the changes, I think it's going to be lovely to see Kanan Moody in that number 13 jersey. He played, I think he's probably one of his best matches in a Bok jersey during that Twickenham game against the All Blacks, where he was just phenomenal, meeting that outside gap. He's got that
Yeah,
little
he looks so good.
Robbie Flex swerve that to take that
Yeah,
outside gap, and I love that old school outside center. So I'm excited for him because that 13 is also a position where going forward, I think you need to develop a bit more depth.
yeah,
We saw Jesse Creel is still playing really well. He's the number one in that position going as we head towards a World Cup. Lekanio Am has dropped off a bit over the last few years. There's some concerns there around his form. I still think he's a quality player and he'll be back. But looking at the future, and that number 13 jersey is going to be really important. I'd like to see a guy like Ethan Hooker also maybe
yeah.
get a crack in that number 13 jersey.
Mm.
He's coming off the bench to possibly make his debut. Andre Esterhuizen, excited to see him at center and not at flank. I think when he gets going, and he's been behind Damien Diallo over the last couple of years, and rightly so. Damien Diallo is probably the best 12 in the world. But
Mm.
Andre Esterhuizen, sorry, Andre Venter, because he played flank.
Yeah,
But Andre Esterhuizen, he's a proper ball carrier, and he will get that momentum, which I think we lacked at
yes,
times, but trying to get over the advantage line for our cleaners to
yes,
maybe hit a ruck
Yeah,
where they actually know this guy's just going forward, and we know where to clean. So that's going to
yeah,
be important.
yeah,
Interesting for me also off the bench is that Jan Hendrik Wessels
yeah,
will be playing hooker now again. Mike, I think that's his probably is going to be going forward. I think that's going to be
yeah,
his position.
yeah.
I hope so. Yeah,
Yeah. Look, guys, just going back to the backline, the thing that I'm really looking forward to is that combination of Grant Williams and Mani Libbok.
Oh
I
yeah,
think there we've got two seriously dynamic guys that can create. And John, you quite rightly talk about how Andre Esterhuizen can generate momentum, but quite often he's the one who's got to do it. He gets the flat pass from, say, last week it was Andre. But now can you imagine if he's running off Marnie,
Mani.
putting him
Yeah,
through half gaps,
yeah,
definitely.
or going up and support. Grant Williams is going to make some breaks. We know that. And then Andre can get even more inroads when he's taking getting through a half gap because Marnie can put him through there, and we
mm.
know that's what he does. So yeah, I mean Grant Williams. Look, Mone van den Berg played well. He was player of the match. So
It did.
I
Yeah,
mean, no
it did.
complaints about him. But I think Grant Williams just adds something different. We saw him do it
Big
again and
compliment.
again and again for the Sharks. He's a wonderful player. So yeah, and then him in partnership with Mani. I mean, jeepers, we could have some fireworks there. So
Mm.
that
That's gonna be
excites me.
quality.
That combination. Yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah.
think I think. Go ahead,
Go for it.
Leighton.
Go for it, John.
No, I think with Mani, in relation to Andre Pollard playing last weekend, we are going to see Mani taking the ball a lot flatter,
Yeah.
especially if the
mm,
box get momentum. And with a dangerous runner such as a Kanan who's able to run lovely
mm,
lines that outside channel,
Mm.
and you've got Willie also. Remember Willie coming in the back, and if he
Yeah.
can put Willie into space, he's got dangerous runners either side of him in Mapimpi and Edward van der
Yeah.
Merwe. So yeah, I'm really excited to see Mani
mm.
also playing with Grant because that is something we haven't seen Leighton since that. I think they played like a couple of minutes together at Ellis Park last year before Grant got injured.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they had like what's it, two or three tests together, and I'm hoping that they can really strike a good combination. I mean, with the two of them there, Willie playing in his 100th at number 15, it's gonna be a special test. The Begas people, they haven't seen a mock rugby inside the stadium since what was it, 2018. They had two tests against Argentina here. behind closed doors because of COVID-19. So all in all, this is shaping up to be a brilliant test. Willie, I mean, Rassie, a guy who sort of rejected him at the Stormers, but now he's getting his 100th cap under the double World Cup winning coach. It just speaks of what Willie has meant to this team. I mean, at a time where they were, I don't want to say not proper, but 15s, but he was the guy, he was the glue there, he was the talisman that just fitted into how the Boks wanted to play, although they didn't really always have the players to play that way. But he could spark something. And I'm hoping that he also from the back, or if he takes a ball up at 10 and interchanges with Mane or first or second receiver, he's gonna have a great 100th test, and they will get the proper win for him to celebrate that.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think
in the Boks, sorry, the Boks have got a history of doing something special for guys who've got milestones. There is something within that group. They're so tight knit that when it is a milestone, they pull rabbits out the hat and just take their game to another level. I mean, dare I mention how they played in Mbombela for Eben breaking Victor's record. But this team of Russies, they do treasure milestones because they're like a family. And I think you're right, Leighton. They are going to. I mean, there's a couple of reasons why they need to have a better performance, but they will play for the lead. They do embrace those milestones. Yeah, and just a word on Willie. I mean, he's the eighth Springbok to get to 100 tests. Look, I mean, let's be quite honest. Willie's had some detractors over the course of his career. Um, and sometimes people get a little like sort of annoyed with some of his antics on the field, and I mean, I think that just shows how competitive he is, that his emotions sometimes
Yes.
he gets a little bit carried away and he kind of looks like a precocious child throwing his toys at times. But I mean, that's okay. Because he does create, he's always trying to do something. He's always trying to make something happen, and that's why Rassie has stuck with him. And I think he's been going since 2013 with the Springboks, and I think he made his debut against Italy as well. So I mean, the durability of the guy is outstanding, and well done to Willie. Yeah, congratulations, and hopefully the Boks come to the party. I think they will.
Yeah, I think one of the most polarizing players in South Africa because you either love him or you hate him, and he said it last year. There was an interview I did with him last year when he said he doesn't even check social media, but obviously he's aware of some of the critics sometimes. But I think for me, and if I have to pick out a highlight in his career, I'll have to say that 2019 World Cup. We played the semi-final and the final basically with one shoulder. He couldn't. He had to stay on the field. If you remember against Wales after injuring his shoulder, he couldn't pass. He couldn't catch a high ball. People watching from outside, take Wally off. Wally can't catch a high ball, but he was struggling. And it's just also the character of the man. I think we all see the flamboyance, the maverick Wally, but it's the Wally that determined Wally that will always stick with me. And I'm so happy for him because he's obviously a Boland boy. Started here. He's from Strand, but started his rugby journey here in the Boland. And to play 100 test is no small feat. So well done, Wally.
Yeah. Yeah, no, a proper Strandhond knows how to stick in the fight and stay there and get on top of his opponents. So hopefully he'll have a crack of a game. It's brilliant that he's able to play his 100th in South Africa. I know Rassie meticulously planned for it to be somewhere here this year. So yeah, what a nice thing for him. And hopefully the Boks, like Mark said, hopefully the Boks can deliver. They have they have that ability to just turn it up in a milestone game for some of their teammates. So my call, um, I'm thinking with the weather, looking at the weather here, it's going to be a lovely day. I'm thinking it's going to be a 50 plus score, just because there's
Here
Mani
we go
and
again.
Grant. There's Mani and Grant there, and there's some hungry forwards. Some guys looking to make the debut off the bench, and then some hungry forwards that want to take the box forward. I'm thinking Ruan Norkia, Captain Salman Murat. They know that the big guns are back, so they need to perform to stay in the running for especially that rugby championship where they were the frontline locks last season. If you think about that, so yeah, guys, I don't know, Mike. I'm throwing it your way. You the most dependable one when
Yeah.
it comes to predictions.
Look, what is certain is that the Springboks will be better than they were last week. They are much chastised. They apparently their training has been quite tasty, as someone put it. It's gone up a level in terms of physicality, and they angry. I mean, Rassie has torn I don't know how many shreds off them. So they will be better. And like we said, there are some exciting combinations there that can make things happen. But again, we mustn't forget about Italy and just think that, well, there's nothing going on in their camp. We kind of tend to focus as South Africans so much on the box, but why can't Italy go up a level themselves? I mean, you know how much confidence they would have taken out of that game? Because there was a period in the second half, I think there was about 13 minutes or so to go. They were only 11 points behind. And all the momentum was with them. And they would have been thinking, jeepers, guys, we can win this game. And obviously,
Yeah,
then the Boks got a late try. But so Italy are also going to be better than they were. I mean, don't underestimate Coach Quesada. He's a damn good coach.
yes.
But so the Springboks playing badly won by 18 points in Loftus. I think they will be much better. I think Italy will be a little bit better. And I'm saying Boks by 20 to 30 points.
Yeah, it's going to be, for me, it's going to be interesting to see if Italy can actually replicate this performance because it's so tough to do this twice in a week against the
Mm,
box, where
mm,
you actually
yeah.
have to, it's put in a superhuman effort physically. And I
Yeah.
think they might struggle with that. I also think that the Springbok team specifically, there's a lot of guys who's got a lot to prove, especially some of the guys off the bench. We look at Evan Roos, who's been, I
Yeah.
think, dying to take an opportunity to actually
Mm,
show people, look, yeah, I should be regularly in this mix. There's a guy like Edwin van der Merwe. He will want to show, make up for lost time after being injured after a fantastic debut. So I think there's gonna be that factor as well. It's gonna be dry in at the Nelson Mandela Bay Stadium. It's gonna be Mani Libbok and Grant Williams running the show. I'm not gonna say 70, but I'm gonna say it's gonna be a lot more comprehensive than it was last week. So I also think it's gonna be about 30 plus points.
Yeah. Though I'm looking at this weather, and I'm from Cape Town, and the weather's been bad there.
It is
I'm
bad, yeah,
sitting
my
here in the
friend.
Eastern
It is very bad.
I'm sitting here in the Eastern Cape, and it looks like this is going to carry through to the weekend. So hopefully the Boks can do it in the Nelson Mandela Bay Stadium. The people down here in the Eastern Cape, they are hungry for Bok rugby. They've had a Stormers game here and there here in the stadium, but they will be looking to feast on some tries come Saturday. Guys, thanks again for the chat. It's been another lovely chat with you guys. Lekker interactive. If you haven't yet, please click that like and subscribe button. We will be back looking at Georgia and what Rassi will be dishing up next week, and then also just dissect this test. As we all know, Rassie wants the Boks to play better this weekend, and hopefully they do to not have the how did Mike say, another coat of paint being put on the change room walls of the NMB Stadium. Gents, yeah, enjoy the game, and let's hope it's some crack of a rugby game. Cheers.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.